2 Samuel 21. David avenges the Gibeonites. Now there was a famine in the days of David for 3 years, year after year, and David sought the face of the Lord. And the Lord said, "There is blood guilt on Saul and on his house, because he put the Gibeonites to death." So the king called the Gibeonites. Now the Gibeonites were not of the people of Israel, but of the remnant of the Amorites. Although the people of Israel had sworn to spare them, Saul had sought to slay them in his zeal for the people of Israel and Judah. And David said to the Gibeonites, "What shall I do for you? And how shall I make expiation that you may bless the heritage of the Lord?" The Gibeonites said to him, "It is not a matter of silver or gold between us and Saul or his house, neither is it for us to put any man to death in Israel." And he said, "What do you say that I shall do for you?" They said to the king, "The man who consumed us and planned to destroy us so that we should have no place in all territory of Israel, let 7 of his sons be given to us so that we may hang them up before the Lord at Gibeon on the mountain of the Lord." And the king said, "I will give them." But the king spared Mephibosheth, the son of Saul's son, Jonathan, because of the oath of the Lord which was between them, between David and Jonathan the son of Saul. The king took the 2 sons of Riphaz, the daughter of Aiah, whom she bore to Saul, Armoni and Mephibosheth, the 5 sons of Merab, the daughter of Saul, whom she bore to Adriel the son of Barzillai, the Meholathite. And he gave them into the hands of Gibeonites, and they hanged them on the mountain before the Lord, and 7 of them perished together. They put to death in the first days of harvest, at the beginning of the barley harvest. Then Rizpah, the daughter of Aiah, took sackcloth and spread it for herself on the rock, from the beginning of the harvest, until rain fell upon them from the heavens, and she did not allow the birds of the air to come upon them by day, or the beasts of the field by night. When David was told what Rizpah, the daughter of Aiah, the concubine of Saul, had done, David went and took the bones of Saul and the bones of his son Jonathan from the men of Jabeshi Gilead, who had stolen them from the public square of Bethshan, where the Philistines had hanged them. On the day the Philistines killed Saul on Gilboa, and he brought up from there the bones of Saul and the bones of his son Jonathan, and they gathered the bones of those who were hanged. And they buried the bones of Saul and his son Jonathan in the land of Benjamin in Zelah, in the tomb of Kish his father. And they did all that the king commanded, and after that God heeded supplications for the land. Exploits of David's men. The Philistines had war again with Israel, and David went down together with his servants. And they fought against the Philistines, and David grew weary. And Ishbi-Benob, one of the descendants of the giants, whose spear weighed 300 shekels of bronze, and who was girded with a new sword, thought to kill David. But Abishai the son of Zeruiah came to his aid and attacked the Philistine and killed him. Then David's men adjured him, "You shall no more go out with us to battle, lest you quench the lamp of Israel." After this, there was again war with the Philistines at Gob. Then Sibbecai the Hushathite slew Saph, who was one of the descendants of the giants, and there was war again with the Philistines at Gob. And Elhanah, the son of Jeroboam the Bethlehemite, slew Goliath the Gittite, the shaft of whose spear was like a weaver's beam. And there was again war at Gath, where there was a man of great stature who had 6 fingers on each hand and 6 toes on each foot, 24 in number, and he also descended from the giants. And when he taunted Israel, Jonathan the son of Shimei, David's brother, slew him. These 4 were descended from the giants in Gath, and they fell by the hand of David and by the hand of his servants. David's song of thanksgiving. And David spoke to the Lord the words of a song on the day when the Lord delivered him from the hand of all his enemies and from the hand of Saul. He said, "The Lord is my rock and my fortress and my deliverer, my God, my rock, in whom I take refuge, my stronghold and my refuge, my Saviour. Thou savest me from violence. I call upon the Lord who is worthy to be praised, and I am saved from my enemies. For the waves of death encompass me, the torrents of perdition assail me. The cords of Sheol entangle me, the snares of death confronted me. My distress, I called upon the Lord. To my God I called. From his temple he heard my voice, and my cry came to his ears. And my cry came to his ears. Then the earth reeled and rocked. The foundations of the heavens trembled and quaked, because he was angry. Smoke went up from his nostrils, and devouring fire from his mouth. Glowing coals flamed forth from him. He bowed the heavens and came down. Thick darkness was under his feet. He rode on a cherub and flew. He was seen upon the wings of the wind. He made darkness around him his canopy, thick clouds a gathering of water. Out of the brightness before him coals of fire flamed forth. The Lord thundered from heaven, and the Most High uttered his voice. And he sent out arrows and scattered them, lightning and rooted them. Then the channels of the sea were seen. The foundations of the world were laid bare. At the rebuke of the Lord, at the blast of the breath of his nostrils. He reached from on high, he took me, he drew me out of many waters. He delivered me from my strong enemy, from those who hated me, for they were too mighty for me. They came upon me in the day of my calamity, but the Lord was my stay. He brought me forth into a broad place. He delivered me because he delighted in me. The Lord rewarded me according to my righteousness. According to the cleanness of my hands, he recompensed me. For I have kept the ways of the Lord, and have not wickedly departed from my God. For all his ordinances were before me, and from his statutes I did not turn aside. I was blameless before him, and I kept myself from guilt. Therefore the Lord has recompensed me according to my righteousness, according to my cleanness in his sight. With the loyal thou dost show thyself loyal. With the blameless man thou dost show thyself blameless. With the pure thou dost show thyself pure, and with the crooked thou dost show thyself perverse. Thou dost deliver a humble people, but the eyes are upon the haughty to bring them down. Yea, thou art my lamp, O Lord, and my God lightens my darkness. Yea, by thee I can crush a troop, and my God, I can leap over a wall. This God, his way is perfect. The promise of the Lord proves true. He is a shield for all those who take refuge in him. For who is God but the Lord? And who is the rock except our God? This God is my strong refuge, and has made my way safe. He made my feet like hinds' feet, and set me secure on the heights. He trains my hands for war, so that my arm can be bent a bow of bronze. Thou hast given me the shield of thy salvation, and thy help made me great. Thou didst give a wide place for my steps under me, and my feet did not slip. I pursued my enemies and destroyed them, and did not turn back until they were consumed. I consumed them, I thrust them through, so that they did not rise. They fell under my feet, for thou dost gird me with strength for the battle. Thou didst make my assailants sink under me. Thou didst make my enemies turn their backs to me. Those who hated me, and I destroyed them. They looked, but there was no one to save. They cried to the Lord, but he did not answer them. I beat them fine as dust of the earth. I crushed them and stamped them down like the mire of the streets. Thou didst deliver me from strife with the people. Thou didst keep me as the head of the nations. People whom I had not known served me. Foreigners came cringing to me. As soon as they heard of me, they obeyed me. Foreigners lost heart and came trembling out of their fastness. The Lord lives, and blessed be my rock, and exalted be my God, the rock of my salvation, the God who gave me vengeance and brought down peoples under me, who brought me out from my enemies. Thou didst exalt me above my adversaries. Thou didst deliver me from men of violence. For this I exalt thee, O Lord, among the nations, and sing praises to thy name. Great triumphs he gives to his king, and shows steadfast love to his anointed, to David and his descendants forever. 2 Samuel 23, the last words of David. Now these are the last words of David, the oracle of David the son of Jesse, the oracle of the man who has raised up on high, the anointed of the God of Jacob, the sweet psalmist of Israel. The Spirit of the Lord speaks by me, his word is upon my tongue. The God of Israel has spoken, the rock of Israel has said to me. When one rules justly over men, ruling in the fear of God, he dawns on them like the morning light, like the sun shining forth upon a cloudless morning, like rain that makes grass to sprout from the earth. Yea, does not my house stand so with God? For he has made with me an everlasting covenant, ordered in all things and secure. For will he not cause to prosper all my help and my desire? But godless men are like thorns that are thrown away, for they cannot be taken with the hand. But the man who touches them arms himself with iron and shaft of a spear, and they are utterly consumed with fire. David's mighty men. These are the names of the mighty men whom David had: Josheb Bashebeth, a Tachemonite, he was a chief of the three. He wielded his spear against 800 whom he slew at one time. And next to him among the three mighty men at Eleazar the son of Dodo, son of Ahohi, he was with David when they defied the Philistines who were gathered there for battle, and the men of Israel withdrew. He rose and struck down the Philistines until his hand was weary and his hand cleaved to the sword. And the Lord wrought great victory that day, and men returned after him, and next to him was Shammah, the son of Agi the Hararite. The Philistines gathered together at Lehi, where there was a plot of ground full of lentils, and the men fled from the Philistine. But he took his stand in the midst of the plot, and defended it, and slew the Philistines, and the Lord wrought great victory. And 3 of the 30 chief men went down and came about harvest time to David at the cave of Edula, when a band of Philistines was encamped in the valley of Rephaim. David was then in the stronghold, and the garrison of the Philistines was then at Bethlehem. And David said longingly, "Oh, that someone would give me water to drink from the well of Bethlehem which is by the gate." Then the 3 mighty men broke through the camp of Philistines and drew water out of the well of Bethlehem which was by the gate, and took and brought it to David. But he would not drink of it. He poured it out to the Lord, and said, "Far be it from me, O Lord, that I should do this. Shall I drink the blood of men who went at risk of their lives?" Therefore he would not drink it. These things did the 3 mighty men. Now Abishai, the brother of Joab and the son of Zeruiah, was chief of the 30, and he wielded his spear against 300 men and slew them, and won a name beside the 3. He was the most renowned of the 30 and became their commander. But he did not attain to the 3. And Benaiah, the son of Jehoiada, was a valiant man of Kabzeel, a doer of great deeds. he smote 2 Ariels of Moab. He also went down and slew a lion in a pit on a day when snow had fallen. And he slew an Egyptian, a handsome man. The Egyptian had a spear in his hand, but Benaiah went down to him with a staff and snatched the spear out of the Egyptian's hand and slew him with his own spear. Then these things did Benaiah the son of Jehoiada, and won a name beside the 3 mighty men. And he renowned among the 30, but he did not attain to the 3. And David set him over his bodyguard. Ashael, the brother of Joab, was one of the 30. Elhanan, the son of Dodo of Bethlehem, Shammah of Harod, Elika of Harod, Heliz the Petite, Ira the son of Ikesh of Tekoa, Abiezer of Anathoth, Mebunai the Hushathite, Zalmon the Hawthite, Maharai of Netophah, Heleb the son of Benah and Netophah, Ittai the son of Ribai of Gibeah of the Benjamites, Benaiah of Pirathon, Hidadai of the brooks of Gash, Abielbon the Arbathite, Azmaweth of Behurim, Eliabah of Shalbon, the sons of Jashin, Jonathan, Shammah the Hararite, Ahiam the son of Shararar the Hararite, Eliphelet, Parai the Arbite, Igal the son of Nathan of Jobah, Bani the Gadite, Zelek the Ammonite, Naharai of Beroth, the armor bearer of Joab the son of Zeruiah, Ira the Ithrite, Gareb the Ithrite, Uriah the Hittite, 37 in all. 2 Samuel 24. David's census of Israel and Judah. Again the anger of the Lord was kindled against Israel, and he incited David against them, saying, Go number Israel and Judah. So the king said to Joab, the commanders of the army who were with him, Go through all the tribes of Israel, from Dan to Beersheba, number the people, that I may know the number of the people. But Joab said to the king, May the Lord your God add to the people 100 times as many as they are, while the eyes of my lord the king still see. But why does my lord the king delight in this thing? But the king's word prevailed against Joab and the commanders of the army. So Joab the commanders of the army went out from the presence of the king to number the people of Israel. They crossed the Jordan and began from Aroer, and from the city that is in the middle of the valley, toward Gad on to Jazer. Then they came to Gilead and to Kadesh in the land of the Hittites, and they came to Dan, and from Dan they went around to Sidon, and came to the fortress of Tyre, to all the cities of Hivites and the Canaanites, and they went out to Negeb at Judah at Beersheba. So when they had gone through all the land, they came to Jerusalem at the end of 9 months and 20 days. And Joab gave the sum of the numbering of the people to the king. In Israel there were 800,000 valiant men who drew the sword. The men of Judah were 500,000. Judgment on David's sin. But David's heart smote him after he had numbered the people. And David said to the Lord, I have sinned greatly in what I have done. But now, O Lord, I pray thee, take away the iniquity of thy servant, for I have done very foolishly. And when David arose in the morning, the word of the Lord came to the prophet Gad, David's seer, saying, Go and say to David, Thus says the Lord, 3 things I offer you. Choose one of them that I may do it to you. So Gad came to David and told him, and said to him, Shall 3 years of famine come to you in your land? Or will you flee 3 months before your foes while they pursue you? Or shall there be 3 days pestilence in your land? Now consider and decide what answer I shall return to him who sent me. Then David said to Gad, I am in great distress. Let us fall into the hand of the Lord, for his mercy is great. But let me not fall into the hand of man. So the Lord sent a pestilence upon Israel from morning until the appointed time, and there died of the people from Dan to Beersheba 7,000 men. And when the angel stretched forth his hand toward Jerusalem to destroy it, the Lord repented of the evil and said to the angel who was working destruction among the people, "It is enough, now stay your hand." And the angel of the Lord was by the threshing floor of Araunah the Jebusite. And then David spoke to the Lord when he saw the angel who was smiting the people, and said, "Lo, I have sinned, and I have done wickedly. But these sheep, what have they done? Let thy hand, I pray thee, be against me and against my father's house." David's altar on the threshing floor. And Gad came that day to David and said to him, "Go up, rear an altar to the Lord on the threshing floor of Araunah and Jebusite." So David went up at Gad's word, as the Lord commanded. And when Araunah looked down, he saw the king and his servants coming on toward him. And Araunah went forth and did obeisance to the king, with his face to the ground. And Araunah said, "Why has my lord the king come to his servant?" David said, "To buy the threshing floor of you, in order to build an altar to the Lord, that the plague may be averted from the people." And Araunah said to David, "Let my lord the king take and offer up what seems good to him. Here are the oxen for the burnt offering, and the threshing sleighs, and the yokes of the oxen for the wood. All this, O king," Araunah gives to the king. Araunah said to the king, "The Lord your God accept you." But the king said to Araunah, "No, but I will buy it of you for a price. I will not offer burnt offerings to the Lord my God, which cost me nothing." So David bought the threshing floor and the oxen for 50 shekels of silver. And David built there an altar to the Lord, and offered burnt offerings and peace offerings. The Lord heeded the supplication for the land, and the plague was averted from Israel.